Hey, it's Soul, and this is Warcraft Weekly, back from another successful round of visits full of surprises and spectacle and wonder and horror and one death. Just one. You can help support the channel by liking this video, subscribing for more WoW coverage, and catching me where I'm live. We first got to talk about the most important thing coming out of the upcoming 12.0.5 patch, and that is the Transmog option to have our weapons sit either on our hip or on the back, or even hide them completely while sheathed. It's a feature folks have been asking for since the Bush administration, and inside the Arcantina is a spot where we can hang our weapons up, and that brought this topic back up again. I'll explain how it works, and it's pretty easy. From the Transmog menu, select your weapon and whatever Transmog you're changing it to, and you can see a series of options towards the bottom there. Eligible weapons that can swap between the back or hip include all one-handers except for fist weapons, which continue to always hide, but you can mess around with the offhand frills casters use. Unfortunately, sorry, you won't be able to have two-handers or guns on the hip. As for hiding weapons, it's open season, so while weapons are tucked away, you can now opt to hide them. Changing the orientation or visibility while sheathed doesn't cost any gold, unless of course you change the weapon's appearance. And this mostly works with situations too. For example, we can make a housing outfit that includes switching to weapons that sit differently or hide while sheathed. Then when you leave the house, you switch to your more active default outfit. While we're in the situation menu, a few more conditions are being added, including weather effects and the time of day to manipulate your outfit. Both are interesting, but especially the weather tracking, because it means weather does in fact affect the game, at least cosmetically. The race to World First continues as of this recording, and at this point it's kind of hard to tell how different it looks compared to previous races, with the creation and use of cutting-edge add-ons that reportedly might not be shared with the rest of the community after this race is over. It sends pretty confusing messages over how successful Blizzard was about disabling these computational add-ons, but also it shows how determined top gamers are to get any edge they can, given that they have limited attempts at gear and, more importantly, the urgency of wanting to be first. Meanwhile, most of the rest of us will be counting on timed nerfs that we know will happen in a few weeks, as well as the turbo boost-like mechanics that are going to start coming in the next patch. Will that kind of cancel out add-ons? Not sure. Seeing the continued use of these kinds of add-ons, though, it's not a good look, and I'm curious to see how Blizzard either doubles down on their efforts at restrictions, or lets us go back to a world of playing the UI instead of the game, to be so blunt. I mean, like, at my level, I don't need any of that stuff. I'm actually those who are like, okay, maybe the game doesn't need to be catered around the 0.1%. On Monday, we were treated with a Q&A with WoW boss Holly Longdale in the WoW Portal Room. It's the official Discord channel of World of Warcraft. And it was pretty easy to miss. The announcement was made inside the channel, and questions were taken from the community Discord channels who serve as the WoW ambassadors. They took in questions, and they cleaned them up a bit to present to Holly in like a 40 or so minute back and forth. So the announcement and the hype around it, it was very filtered. You need to pay attention to that channel or wait for sites like Wowhead to share the news and the breakdowns and so on and so forth. The vibe walking into this Q&A, it felt very safe in so few words. Holly is the executive producer of World of Warcraft, but she's not like waist deep in the day-to-day discourse like WoW's game directors. So it's not surprising we didn't learn very specific information on fixing our class or why this or that character isn't in the spotlight. But here's what we did learn, and I'm gonna color it with my usual commentary. They're determined to firmly ground World of Warcraft as a so-called third place. That's a term used to describe usually physical spaces where we go to between our first place, which is home, and our second place, which is work, although that's sometimes home. Think of like hangout spots or daily rituals or places to socialize, celebrate our hobbies, and play games. In the times before social media and Discord channels, we logged onto WoW to connect with WoW friends, often through like guilds and server communities and trade chat. 20 or so years later, though, the internet is a very different place where connectivity is more or less ubiquitous, where we have presence in any number of spaces all at once, but our attention is not so evenly split. WoW is trying to be a solid but a complementary way of staying connected to other people. Like, we can go onto social media or the these programs and say like, hey, I got this cool achievement, or we can ask for help. Maybe I got a bitch about something while building my house, and I can share my progress via screenshots that friends can see on their phones and social media and so on and so forth. In fact, Holly sounded almost exasperated as she pointed out that World of Warcraft's in-game social systems, as in like guilds and communities, that they're in dire need of improvement. It's kind of a signal for us to sharpen our pitchforks and very loudly share what we at least think will make the game better on that front. While it's not off the table, the team seems reluctant at modernizing all the old legacy systems to be more aligned with how World of Warcraft is today. Both the question and the answer were kind of vague sounding, so I'll try to share my understanding here. The likes of warbands, for example, and updating warbands to share the past reputations that we've earned, that still seems to be an ongoing thing. It's not going as fast as they like, but it's an ongoing thing. But the question seems aimed at taking these old reputations and legacy systems to make them more accessible or soloable, in fact. My opinion, I think they want to avoid a situation where we can earn like the Insane title in the WoW Classic Remix, or be able to buy Battle for Azeroth honor marks, or whatever they're called, with just gold. I think a good example of modernizing would be like Warfronts. Lots of folks, myself included, would be pretty cool with making it, for the most part, solo queuable. An alternate idea, though, would be to make it like into a holiday event, like maybe for 1 week out of however many weeks, we can all freely queue up for Warfronts without any restrictions, and it'll now scale to our level. And then when we do that event, we get some like Transmog pieces that came from the event, we get some Voidlight Marl and gold, and maybe current crests at the end of it. I think some folks are piggybacking this question or this discussion, and they're looking to mostly dismantle past exclusives like Ahead of the Curve mounts and Mage Tower appearances, that sort of thing, which historically the team has resisted. So I think that's why Holly didn't want to take on such an open question. It certainly sounds like they want to make a housing roadmap, which got me excited and also nervous at the same time, because if it comes out, and I do hope it does, it is 100% going to be a mixed bag of excitement and, of course, disappointment. Because even if they were to lay out a year-long plan that includes like a ton of stuff, that's cool, but gamers want like 50 tons of stuff all at the same time, immediately and yesterday. Holly was also asked a certain question about what she'd like to see in World of Warcraft if she didn't have to worry about dev time and, other practical limitations. Now, most of this answer revolved around customization, from like more barbershop options to new emotes, and hey, it would be awesome to deliver a level of presentation or personalization not unlike housing. To be clear, this was just a wish list and wasn't meant to be really taken seriously, but with the way word of mouth passes along, a lot of folks, of course, took her answers and called them promises or teasers of what's coming. So it's important to kind of throw a wet towel on this whole thing and say these are more like concepts of a plan. Another example, she asked folks in chat what they'd think about playing World of Warcraft with a controller. Unsurprisingly, the response was a resounding yes, though she also pointed out the scale at which to deliver something, a feature like this. It's several orders of magnitude above what add-ons like console ports can do. And it's not just gameplay that needs to be addressed, but also things like menu navigation and chat. Like, a lot of the game would need to be rebuilt to deliver the World of Warcraft experience on a controller the moment you log in to the moment you log out. Overall, I did enjoy what we got from this, and I think the Portal Room channel is a success so far. It's got a good formula as, of course, an official channel. Large chunks of it are being moderated by members of larger communities, whose presence is also a way to elevate their own channels. The result is this very curated space with lots of good and healthy energy, and invites anyone to join and share feedback. In my opinion, it was much more effective than the Community Council was, and if you want to visit, a link to the channel is in the video description. That's the show, but I wanted to gush a bit over the bridge scenario made available to round out the campaign quest we got from this week. It felt like a ton of fun, and I'm comparing this to the midnight opening sequence, with all the who's who of the light showing up to beat back the void. Now this time we got exactly what Chris Metzen hinted at all the way back during the War Within and the World Soul Saga reveal, this unification of the Elven people. It felt really, really good, fighting side by side with storied NPCs and mowing down hordes of mobs with, like, these super abilities. I didn't record the very start of it, but the scenario opens up with a big flyover of the Darkwell leading back to this display of, like, all these elves and elves and elves, and finally back to us. It gave me this old school RTS vibe, like the scene was about to shift from the cutscene to me quickly throwing down farms and telling peons to start gathering gold and lumber. But this made me think of the chatter earlier this week, where a lot of folks I heard, they were griping over, hey, where's the Horde at? How come they're not showing up? But at least what I played through was all this buildup from the zone storylines in Midnight, followed by this really epic battle with Silvermoon City as the spear. Now, hopefully at some point, the regular Horde and Alliance folk that were still on that beach will wrap up what's going on in Kazalgar, hopefully in time for the Last Titan. But today, at least, I think we got a pretty sweet Silvermoon story. Let's give a hearty thanks to the folks on Twitch and YouTube for keeping us company, and a massive thank you to the folks at the Cozy Cube for letting me take a really close look at their places. I'm looking forward to reaching out to more of these kinds of groups, not just to elevate the housing community, but, well, because these visits are really, really entertaining. Next week, we're back to the sign-up formats, and we've already got a full plate of visits ready to go, and hope to see you around Azeroth. Of course, thanks to our wonderful patrons and to you, viewer. You made it to the end, you fed the algorithm. Now, if you don't mind, please like this video, subscribe for more WoW coverage, catch me live, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.